الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا وإمامنا وقدوتنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Respected brothers and sisters, welcome to our weekly class on the explanation of Al-Muqaddimah Al-Ajurrimiyyah. And the explanation that we are currently going through is Al-Tuhfah Al-Sanniyyah by Sheikh Muhammad Muhyiddin Abdul Hamid rahimahullah. And I believe today we are starting, or we are going to, today inshallah we're going to cover Al-Ma'rifatu Wan-Nakira. Naam, Al-Ma'rifatu Wan-Nakira. That's the aim inshallah. Try to share the screen with you. There we go. Okay, hopefully you can see the screen. Al-Ma'rifatu wa aqsamuha. Al-Ma'rifa and its different types. Qala, so Ibn Ājurrum rahimahullah, he says, Wal-Ma'rifatu khamsatu ashya'ah. Al-Ma'rifa includes 5 things. Al-Ismul Mudmaru. Al-Ismul Mudmaru yani al-Damir. Nahwu ana wa anta. Wal-Ismul Alamu. Al-Ismul Alam is a proper noun. Nahwu Zaydun wa Makkatu. Wal-Ismul Mubhamu. Al-Ismul Mubham. This includes Ismul Ishara and Al-Ismul Mawsul. That's the meaning of Al-Ismul Mubham here. Ismul Mubham yani ism which is unclear, is ambiguous until something else comes and clarifies it. That's why it's called Al-Ismul Mubham. Al-Ismul Mubhamu, and includes 2 things: Ismul Ishara wa Ismul Mawsul. Nahwu hadha wa hadihi wa haula'i. So that's number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 4, wal ismul ladhi fihi al alif wal lam, an ism which has alif wal lam, yani al. Nahwu ar-rajulu wal ghulamu. That's number 4. Number 5, wama udifa ila wahidin min hadhihi al-arba'ah. Wama udifa ila wahidin min hadhihi al-arba'ah. And that which is mudaf to one of these 4. That which is mudaf to one of these 4. So everything that is mudaf to one of these 4, that we have just spoken about, it is also ma'rifah. But remember, not every mudaf is ma'rifah. Only the mudaf which is mudaf to ma'rifah is ma'rifah. Okay, so that's something you have to remember. So for example, if I say Let's give an example here quickly. Okay. The word ghulam. This is obviously nakira. Now, let's say we say ghulamuka. Now it has become ma'rifa. Why? Because mudaf to ad-damir, and damir is ma'rifa. Ghulamu hada. The ghulam of this one. This one's ghulam. So here ghulamu is mudaf to ismul ishara. So ghulam becomes ma'rifa. Ghulam alladhi fid dar. The ghulam of the one who's in the house, who's at home. Here ghulam is mudaf to al-ism al-mawsul. Al-ism al-mawsul is ma'rifa, so ghulam becomes ma'rifa. Ghulam al-rajuli. Okay. Ghulam al-rajuli. Naam. So al-rajuli, it is ma'rifa because of al. So ghulam is mudaf to al-rajul, so it becomes ma'rifa. Ghulamu zaydin. Ghulam is mudaf to alam, ismul alam, a proper noun, a proper name. So it becomes ma'rifa. But now if I say ghulamu rajulin. Now ghulam is mudaf to rajulin. Rajul is nakira. Do we say now that ghulam has become ma'rifa? No. Cannot say that. But what we can say that ghulam is not any old nakira. It is nakira makhsusa. It's a specific nakira. It's not nakira mahda. It's not a pure nakira. But it's a nakira which has become more specific. Because there's a clear difference between ghulam. If I just say ghulam and I say ghulam rajul, which one's more specific? Ghulam rajul, no doubt, is more specific, but is it ma'rifa? It's not ma'rifa. So ghulam, this is nakira mahda, pure nakira, pure. Ghulamu rajulin, this ghulam is nakira makhsusa, specific, but it's not ma'rifa. It is not ma'rifa. That's the meaning. Okay. Wa aqulu, let's say what the Sharih says, Shaykh Muhammad. Coming into the room, checking everything's fine. Okay. Wa aqulu, I say, i'lam anna al-isma yankasimu ila qismayn. Know that a noun is divided into two. Al-awwalu an-nakiratu wa satati. The first is a nakira, and that inshallah is going to come in the next chapter. وَالثَّانِي الْمَعْرِفَةُ. الثاني المعرفة. What is al-ma'rifa? What's the definition of ma'rifa? وَهِيَ اللَّفْظُ الَّذِي يَدُلُّ عَلَى مُعَيَّنٍ. It is a word that points to something that is particular and specific. وَأَقْسَامُهَا خَمْسَةٌ is 5 types. الْقِسْمُ الْأَوَّلُ الْمُضْمَرُ أو الضَّمِيرُ. Same thing. الْمُضْمَرُ الضَّمِيرُ. وَهُوَ مَا دَلَّ عَلَى مُتَكَلِّمٍ. And that is what points to a mutakallim, yani the person who is speaking, first person, as you say, nahwu ana, for example, ana. Or mukhatabin, or it points to mukhatab, second person, the one who is being addressed, nahwu anta, for example, anta. Or ghaibin, or it points to ghaib, yani third person, someone who's not here, nahwu huwa, for example, huwa. Nah? And then he says, وَمِنْ هُنَا تَعْلَمُ أَنَّ ضَمِيرَ ثَلَاثَةُ أَنْوَاءٍ. And from here you know that dhamir is 3 types. Okay, this is all very, very easy and we've done it before, so we're going to go through it quickly, okay? النوع الأول ما وضع للدلالة على المتكلم. The first type of dhamir is that which points to al-mutakallim, first person, the one who's speaking. وهو كلمتان, there are two words. وهما, what are they? أنا للمتكلم وحده, أنا for someone who's speaking by himself. ونحن للمتكلم المعظم نفسه أو معه غيره. Or نحن is for mutakallim معظم نفسه, who's exalting himself. إنا نحن نزلنا عليك ذكر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has many examples of this in the Quran. You find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about himself with nahnu. Yes, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, the only one and unique, but he is glorifying, he's exalting himself subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or ma'ahu ghayruhu, or in the real sense anywhere, someone else is with him. And there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. That's why we use nahnu. Yes, واضح. والنوع الثاني ما وضع للدلالة على المخاطب. It's a dhamir that shows, that points to مخاطب, the second person, someone's being addressed. وهو 5 ألفاظ, there are 5. وهي أنت بفتح تاء, بفتح تاء, the تاء is مفتوحة. And that is for للمخاطب المذكر المفرد. It's for مخاطب مذكر مفرد. وأنت بكسر تاء, أنت بكسر تاء, تاء is مكسورة. وho's that for للمخاطبة المؤنثة المفردة. It's for مخاطبة مؤنثة مفردة. وأنتما للمخاطب المثنى مذكرا كان أو مؤنثا. أنتما is for 2 people are being addressed, whether they are both male, whether they are both female, whether it's 1 male, 1 female, doesn't matter. وأنتم لجمع الذكور المخاطبين. And أنتم is for جمع الذكور مخاطبين. واضح. وأنتن لجمع الإناث المخاطبات. And أنتن is for جمع إناث مخاطبات. والنوع الثالث ما وضع لدلالة الغائب is dhamir that points to or shows, indicates al-ghaib, third person who is absent. وهو 5 ألفاظ أيضا, there are also 5 words. وهي, what are they? هو للغائب المذكر المفرد. واضح. وهي للغائبة المؤنثة المفردة. واضح. وهما للمثنى الغائب مطلقا is for مثنى who's غائب 2. مطلقا meaning for ذكر or أنثى or 1 ذكر and 1 أنثى, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what it says here. مذكرا كان أو مؤنثا. That's what it means. للمثنى, وهما للمثنى الغائب مطلقا مذكرا كان أو مؤنثا. وهم لجمع ذكور الغائبين وهن لجمع الإناث الغائبات. And this is important here. وتقدم هذا البيان في بحث الفاعل وفي بحث المبتدأ الخبر. And we have spoken in detail about the damirs when we spoke about fa'il and we spoke about mubtada khabar. So that's the first ma'rifa, which is damir al-mudbar. Yeah. Okay. القسم الثاني من المعرفة العلم, proper noun. وهو ما يدل على معين بدون احتياج إلى قرينة تكلم أو خطاب أو غيرهما. We spoke about that before. Al-alam is that which points to something specific and particular without a need for a qarina, without the need for something external or some kind of indicator showing takallum, who is the one who is speaking, or khitab, or showing who is the one that's being addressed, or ghayrihima, or other than these 2. Yani, if you say Zaid, Zaid means Zaid. Zaid means a person's name is Zaid. Yes? We don't need any qarina, any help, any external factor, any indicator, any extra clue to show us who is Zaid. It doesn't matter if Zaid is speaking or is being addressed or he's not even here. The point is, when you say Zaid, it means that person's Zaid. As opposed to the damirs that we spoke about before. Ana, huwa, anta, we don't know what they mean until we see who is being addressed, who is speaking, who is being spoken to, who is who is absent, who's being referred to in his absence. So there you need a qarina. Here you don't need a qarina. Yes, and we spoke about this before. وَهُوَ نَوْعَانِ, and they are two. Al-alam is two types. Of course, مذكر نحو محمد محمد وإبراهيم. And you can say نحو محمد, that's the way it should be, but here we're not going to say that. محمد وإبراهيم وجبل. Jabal, we don't mean here a mountain. Here what we mean by Jabal is a name of a person. The noble companion Mu'adh bin Jabal. So Mu'adh radiyallahu anh, his father's name was Jabal. Abu Huraira was his name. Raḥman ibn Sakhr. So Abu Huraira was Raḥman, his father's name was Sakhr, rock. And the Arabs used to have these names because they were warriors, they were fighters. So they wanted to show other tribes that they're courageous and bold, strong and powerful. So they used to use these rough names. مذكر ومؤنث نحو فاطمة وزينب ومكة. واضح. القسم الثالث الاسم المبهم. والقسم الثالث from the معرفة is الاسم المبهم. اسم المبهم that we told you, ambiguous or unclear ism. Why is it so? And وهو نوعان, there are two. اسم الإشارة والاسم الموصول. Why? Because both of them need something. يعني اسم الإشارة هذا, if I say هذا, unless I'm pointing to something, it doesn't mean anything. Yes? يعني هذا by itself has no meaning. يعني it's mubham. It's unclear who we're referring to. Unless we come with ishara, hissiyya or ishara ma'nawiyya. We come with a signal that is physical, real, or with a tangible, or we come with a non-physical, non-tangible ishara, signal, something which is abstract. Yes, same with ism al-mawsul. Ism al-mawsul, you're not going to understand ism al-mawsul. Yes, unless you come with a sila after it to clarify what you mean. Okay, so that's why ism al-ishara, ism al-mawsul, they're called mubham, because they both need something, a qarina, to clarify what we mean by these two. Amma al-ism al-ishara, as for ism al-ishara, so the first thing we're going to talk about now. Amma ism al-isharati fahuwa, what's the definition of it? Ma wudi'a liyadulla ala muayyanin. It is that which has been placed to point to something specific, particular. How? Biwasitati isharatin hissiyatin or ma'nawiyatin. By way of an ishara, signal. So it is something, ismul ishara is something that points to something, indicates something specific and particular, but by way of ishara, a signal which is either hissiyya, a physical, tangible signal. For example, if I say هذا البيت هذه سيارة, I noted in my head, I say هذا الكتاب. Yes, or ishara which is ma'nawiyya, non-tangible. Yani is non-tangible a word, or is it yeah, hopefully it's a word, yeah, يعني non-physical, abstract, yes. For example, without physically pointing, I say نعم هذا الكتاب فيه بيان يعني this book, in it is a clarification of da da da, blah blah blah. I'm not physically pointing at it, I'm not nodding at it, I'm not making any gestures, any signals physical, but it is something known in the minds and the hearts. Which book is being referred to? It's something known by the aql. نعم. Okay, so yeah. So أما اسم الإشارة فهو ما وضع ليدل على معين بواسطة إشارة حسية أو إشارة معنوية. إشارة معنوية. نعم. Okay. طيب. So that is clear. وله ألفاظ معينة, and اسم الإشارة specific words. وهي, what are they? Okay. وهي هذا للمذكر المفرد, وهذه للمفردة المؤنثة, وهذان أو هذين للمثنى المذكر. You know هذان is مرفوع, هذين is منصوب مجرور, وهاتان أو هاتين للمثنى المؤنث. Again هاتان مرفوع, هاتين مجرور منصوب. وهؤلاء للجمع مطلقا. هؤلاء is for جمع مطلق. You can use it for ذكور وإناث. ذكور أو إناث. ها؟ Okay. نعم. وأما الاسم الموصول, as for اسم الموصول, فهو ما يدل على معين, is also something that shows the point to something معين specific, بواسطة, but this time by way of what? بواسطة جملة أو شبهها. By way of a جملة or شبه الجملة. شبه الجملة, as you know, is either ظرف or جار مجرور. So الاسم الموصول ما يدل على معين بواسطة جملة أو شبهها أو شبه الجملة تذكر بعده البتة. يعني تذكر بعده, يعني this جملة or شبه الجملة, it is mentioned after it. يعني after it what? After اسم الموصول. البتة يعني يعني for sure, يعني it must be mentioned. البتة يعني for sure, قطعا is mentioned. وتسمى صلة. We've done this before. This jumla that comes after اسم الموصول, or this شبه الجملة that comes after اسم الموصول, what's it called? It's called a sila. Yes, this jumla, شبه الجملة, is called a sila. وتكون مشتملة على ضمير يطابق الموصولة ويسمى عائدا. And this we've done it many times before. And this jumla or this shibhul jumla, it comprises of what? Al-Damir. Yutabikul Mawsul. Al-Damir which agrees with the Mawsul. Damir which agrees to the Ismul Mawsul. That basically, and it وَيُسَمَّى عَائِدًا, and this damir is called عائدا because هذا ضمير يعود على الاسم الموصول, because this damir, it goes back and it refers to the ism al-mawsul. That's why it's called a'id. The one that thing that returns or refers to something else. وله ألفاظ معينة أيضا. وله ألفاظ معينة أيضا. And this ism al-mawsul also has some specific words. What are they? وهي الذي للمفرد المذكر والتي للمفردة المؤنثة واللذان أو اللذين للمثنى المذكر واللتان أو اللتين للمثنى المؤنث والذين لجمع الذكور واللائي أو اللاتي لجمع الإناث. Yes. So for example, if I say to you, جاء الذي, and I go quiet. This is mubham, ambiguous, unclear. We don't know who's alladhi. So what do we need after that? We need a jumla, or we need shibh al-jumla. So I can say, for example, جاء الذي رأيته, the one who you saw came. So this here is a jumla. This is called sila. This is the damir. It goes back to alladhi. This is the a'id. Or can be shibh al-jumla. Can be shibh al-jumla. I can say, for example, رأيت الذي في الدار. رأيت الذي في الدار. I saw the one who's in the house. So here, في الدار, this is the sila. And is there jumla? Is shibhul jumla. Or رأيت الذي عندك. رأيت الذي عندك. I saw the one that's with you. Here, this is again sila, shibhul jumla. This is jar majroor, and this is darf. So the point is as the author says, that you need for ism al-mawsul, you need a jumla or shibhul jumla, which is mentioned after it, is called a sila, and it comprises of a damir, which returns back to the mawsul. And here ism al-ishara, same thing. But that is by way of points to something specific by way of an ishara, signal, which can be either hissiyah or ma'nawiyah. Because if I just say hada, it doesn't mean anything without an ishara. Okay. Al-qismu rabi'u al-muhalla bil-alif wal-lam. Al-qismu rabi' for al-ma'rifa is that which has alif lam before it. Al. Wa huwa kullu ismin iqtaranat bihi al. Fa afadathu ta'rifa. It is every ism which has al attached to it, and it gives it ta'rif. It makes it ma'rifah. For example, Nahwu, Al-Rajulu, Wal-Kitabu, Wal-Ghulamu, Wal-Jariyatu, all of them are ma'rifah because they all have al. And this al, what does it give them? It gives them ta'rif, and he makes them ma'rifah. Wal-Qismu al-Khamis, Al-Ismu alladhi udifa ila wahidin min al-arba'ati al-mutaqaddimati. It's an ism which is mudaf to one of the four that has just preceded. فَاكْتَسَبَ التَّعْرِيفَ مِنَ الْمُضَافِ إِلَيْهِ. So it's gained that, so it's earned the ta'rif from the ism that it is mudaf to. So that's how it has earned its ta'rif, yani being ma'rifah. How has it become ma'rifah? It's earned that from to the thing that is mudaf to. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson, yes? Nahwu ghulamuka wa ghulamu Muhammadin wa ghulamu hadha rajuli. Ghulamuka is mudaf to damir. Ghulam Muhammad is mudaf to alam. Ghulamu hadha rajuli mudaf to ismul ishara. Ghulamu alladhi zarana amsi mudaf to ismul mawsul. Wa ghulamu al-ustadi mudaf to ism which is al. وأعرف هذه المعارف بعد لفظ الجلالة. معارف يعني معرفة. This is the jam. معرفة, the jam معارف. وأعرف هذه المعارف يعني the most, you could say, the most definite. The most definite of these ma'rifas after lafz al-jalala, after lafz al-jalala, after the name of Allah Azza wa Jal, yani after Allah, because Allah is the a'raful ma'arif. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most definite of all things, of all entities. He is the most well known. And you say Allah, everybody knows Allah. Yes. So after lafzul jalalah, now what is the order? Which one is the strongest then? And from these ma'arif, after lafzul jalalah, which is the one that's strongest in being ma'rifah, in being definite? It's the damir, number one. Thumma al-alamu, then number two comes alam. Thumma ismul ishara, then number three comes ismul ishara. Thumma ismul mawsulu, then comes ismul mawsul, which is number four. Thumma al-muhalla bi al, then that which has al. And then comes thumma al-mudafu ilayha, that which is mudaf to one of them. That's the order of their strength in terms of being definite and ma'rifah. And that this is basically an explanation of this. وَالْمُضَافُ فِي رُتْبَةِ الْمُضَافِ إِلَيْهِ. Mudaf is at the same level as what it is mudaf to. Yes. So when you have, let's say, for example, these two, ghulamuka, ghulam is in the same level as the kaf, the damir, and that's level number one. Ghulamu Muhammadin, ghulam is mudaf to Muhammad, which is alam, and that's position number two. So out of these two, ghulamuka, ghulam Muhammad, which is the stronger one? Which ghulam is stronger? or you say a'raf, yani, which one is, yani, yes, okay, most strongest in terms of being definite? It is the first one, this first ghulam. Yes, that's just like a explanation, okay, but there's an exception. What's the exception? إلا المضاف إلى الضمير, except that which is مضاف to ضمير فإنه في رتبة العلم. So in fact, you need to go back there now. So you would say إلا المضاف إلى الضمير. I'll give you a wrong example there actually. Let me just delete that. All right. But you get the point, yes? The point is that the mudaf, when it is mudaf to one of the four things that have preceded, it takes the level of that thing which is mudaf to. Okay? But there's an exception, إلا المضاف إلى الضمير. Except that which is mudaf to the damir. Does it take the position of damir? That which is mudaf to the damir, for example, ghulamuka. Does this ghulam take the position, take the same level as the damir, yani level number one? No. فإنه في رتبة العلم. That it takes the same rutba, same level as the alam, this here. So in fact, ghulamuka and ghulamu Muhammadin, in both of them, ghulam is they're both at level number 2, which is the level of the alam. So damir, nothing can take the place of damir. Damir is always going to be number 1. Even that which is mudaf to damir cannot be like damir. Although all the other mudafs, they take the same level as what they are mudaf to, but what is mudaf to damir doesn't. The best it can do, and what it does, it takes the next best level, which is the level of the alam. Huh? Hopefully that is clear now. Wallahu a'lam. Okay, let's move to nakira. So hopefully that is all clear, inshallah. Okay, so let's start here. So let's see what the Mu'allif rahimahullah says. Ibn Ājurrumiyyah rahimahullah, he says, وَالنَّكِرَةُ. So what's the definition of nakira? كُلُّ اسْمٍ شَائِعٍ فِي جِنْسِهِ لَا يَخْتَصُّ بِهِ واحد دون آخر. So nakira is every ism, every noun, sha'in fi jinsihi, that is general in its jins, in its category, in its class. You know, you have categories of things and classes of things. Yes. So nakira, it is every ism which is sha'i, which is spread, yani general, and spread in its jins, in its category. Okay, in its class, meaning that this word, the nakira, it can apply to any member of that class, of that category. That's nakira. Yes? That's why it says here, لا يختص به واحد دون آخر. يعني when you come to nakira, it doesn't, yani, it's not specific for one thing and not the other. Okay? It's not specific one thing, one member, and not the other. It's not something that applies to one member of that category and not the other member. For example, the word rajul. Applies to all men. Yani the word rajul, does it only apply to Zaid? No. Rajul, this here, this is a jins. This is a category. This is a class. Yani men. It's a category, yes, of people. So rajul applies to every single man in that category. It applies to Zaid, applies to Bakr, Amr, Muhammad. Yes, everybody. As opposed to if I say Zaid, if I say Bakr, Zaid and Bakr only apply. Zaid only applies to someone whose name is Zaid. Bakr only applies to someone whose name is Bakr. But Rajul, no. Rajul applies to everyone, every member of that community, of that category. It is sha'i, it is spread, it is general. Huh? That's what that means. لا يختص به واحد دون آخر. Yes, it's not specific to one member and not the other. Okay, so that's clear, inshallah. والتقريب, what does that mean, تقريب? تقريب means تقريبا. Yani an approximate definition of nakira. This is not an exact definition of nakira. It's an approximate definition of nakira. What is it? كل ما صلح دخول الألف واللام عليه. It is every word which can accept alif and lam. نحو الرجل والفرس. The word faras is it nakira? It is nakira. Why? Because I can put al before it and it becomes al-farasu. Huh? Now you might ask, why does it say that this is an approximate definition and not an exact one? Why? Because this qaida, this rule, doesn't apply to every single nakira. Yes, it applies to most nakiras, but not to every single nakira. For example, if I say to you now, Ja'ani dhu fadlin. Any possessor of virtue came to me. Ja'ani dhu fadlin. This here is nakira. The dhu here is nakira. Does it accept al? No, it doesn't. Of course, you cannot say al-dhu. When you say al-dhu, you cannot. Okay, this is why the definition is an approximate definition, applies to most nakiras, not all of them. It doesn't matter, there's exceptions, and that's it. So this is why some of the grammarians, they give a better definition of nakira. They say dukhulu al. Yes. Oh, it can accept al, or wuku'uhu. Yes. Mawqi'ah qabilihi. Either that accepts al or wuku'uhu. Sorry, that should be fatha. Mawqi'a qabilihi, or it is in a place of something qabilihi, that accepts al. Yes, either accepts al, like rajul, ar-rajul, faras, al-faras, no problem. Or it doesn't accept al, but it's in a place of something that accepts an al. And that applies to dhu, because dhu is the meaning of sahib, owner, possessor. So when I say, and this is why we can say that ja'ani dhu fadlin, this is why we can say that dhu is nakira. Why? Because this means ja'ani sahibu fadlin, and the sahib can take al and it can become a sahib. Okay, so this is probably a better definition here. No? So inshallah that is clear. What does the word sila actually mean? Yeah, the word sila actually means like a connector, a connection. We call it silatul mawsool. We call it silatul mawsool. Naam, silatul mawsool. That which is connected to the mawsool. Okay, let's go back to the book then here. All right, so that is the definition of nakira, which we have explained in our own words, by giving examples. That should be inshallah clear. Now let's see what the Sharih says, Sheikh Muhammad. Wa aqulu, and I say, an-nakiratu. What is a nakira? Hiya kullu ismin. It is every ism, every noun. Wudi'a la liyakhussa wahidan bi'aynihi min bayni afradi jinsihi. It's every ism that has been placed, not to specify one particular thing from among the members of a particular community or a category or a class. No. بل ليصلح إطلاقه على كل واحد على سبيل البدل. But it has been placed. It has been placed so that it can apply to each and every member. But rather, it has been placed. Why? لِيَصْلُحَ إِطْلَاقُهُ عَلَى كُلِّ وَاحِدٍ, so that it can be referred to or applied to each and everything in that jins. But how? How does it apply to each and everything in that jins? How? عَلَى سَبِيلِ الْبَدَلِ, in a way that shows badal, yani instead of. Okay, what does that mean? Let me explain that. So, for example, again, let's take the word rajul. Now, rajul can point to Zayd badal Amr, instead of Amr. Or it can point to Amr badal Zayd. It can point to Amr instead of Zayd. Yes? But obviously, yeah. So any rajul can refer to Zayd, or instead of Zayd it can refer to Amr, or instead of Amr it can refer to Bakr, or instead of Bakr it can refer to Muhammad, or instead of Muhammad it can refer to Khalid. But it cannot refer to them all at the same time. It can only refer to one member, because rajul is one. It can refer to one member from that community at one time. But it can refer to any of them, but with badal. And instead of this one, it can refer to that one. Instead of that one, it can refer to this one. But it cannot refer to 2-3 people at the same time. It's mufrad. Yes. So this rajul, it can be Zayd, it can be Bakr, it can be, yeah, instead of Zayd, it can be Bakr, instead of this one, it can be that one, instead of that one, it can be this one, instead like this. That's what it means. Okay. This kind of stuff you learn more about in Usul al-Fiqh. But that's his definition, yes? So he said, let's read it again. An-nakiratu hiya kullu ismin wudi'a la liyakhussa wahidan bi'aynihi min bayni afradi jinsihi, la, bal rather liyasluha itlaquhu ala kulli wahidin ala sabilil badali. Nahwu, for example, rajulun wa imra'atun. For example, these two words, rajulun and imra'atun, they are nakira. فَإِنَّ الْأَوَّلَ, for the first one, which is rajul, يَصِحُّ إِطْلَاقُهُ عَلَى كُلِّ ذَكَرٍ بَالِغٍ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمٍ. It can be applied to every single male who's baligh, mature. Yes, obviously rajul, we're not talking about walad. We're not talking about a boy. We're talking about rajul baligh min bani Adam, from bani Adam. والثاني, as for the thani, which is imra'ah, يصح إطلاقه على كل أنثى بالغة من بني Adam. Then it applies to every untha, female, which is baligha from bani Adam. Applies to all of them. Okay, the last point here, we'll finish with today, inshallah, is this here. We haven't been able to do any i'rab in the last couple of lessons because there actually hasn't been any i'rab. Yes, as you can see. Nah. Wa alamatu nakirati. What's the alama of nakira? We already spoken about that. An tasluha. لأن تدخل عليها ال وتؤثر فيها تعريفا. Nakira is that which allows al to enter upon it, and this al gives it ta'rif. It makes it ma'rif. نحو, for example, رجل فإنه يصح دخول al عليه. Al can enter upon it. It's fine. وتؤثر فيه تعريفا. And this al, what change does it bring about in this rajul? It brings about ta'rif. It makes it ma'rifa. فتقول, so you say الرجل. وكذلك غلام وجارية وصبي وفتاة ومعلم. Likewise, all these words. فإنك تقول, you say about them الغلام والجارية والصبي والفتاة والمعلم. So with this we have completed النكرة المعرفة وأقسامها والنكرة. Okay, any questions on today's lesson? Okay, so we finished. So I want to just do this 1A Arab. Just as a practice, I think it's important to at least 1A Arab before we finish the lesson. Yes. And then we'll finish. So let's look at this Arab. Al-Fatatul Muhaddabatu, yani a well-mannered girl, good girl. Turdi walidayha, she pleases, she makes her parents happy. Okay, so let's look at the Arab. Anybody wants to have a go at the Arab of this? Yes, Adam, yes. This is the last one before Ramadan, inshallah. Now we will continue after Ramadan, bi'idhnillah. Okay, Ilyas, let me open the mic up then. Allow mic. Yep, hopefully you should be able to speak. It should be open now.
الفتاة مبتدأ مرفوع علامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. المهذبة صفة لفتاة مرفوع مثله علامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره.
Yep, good. So al-fatatu is a mubtada. مبتدأ مرفوع وعلامة رفعه ضمة ظاهرة على آخره. Good. المهذبة صفة of فتاة, نعت وصفة of فتاة. صفة الفتاة مرفوع مثله علامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Good. نعم. ترضي
فعل مضارع مرفوع لخلوه من الناصب والجازم وعلامة رفعه الضمة المقدرة على آخره. منع من ظهورها الثقل.
أحسنت. Yes, so ترضي okay وفاعله
وفاعله ضمير مستتر وجوبا
جوازا
تقديره تقديره هي.
نعم أحسنت. So ترضي فعل مضارع as you know مرفوع لخلوه من الناصب والجازم وعلامة رفعه ضمة المقدرة إلى آخره منع من ظهورها الثقل because the end is ending in a ya. وفاعله ضمير مستتر جواز تقديره هي because ترضي هي who's هي الفتاة هي goes back to فتاة المهذبة the good girl the well-mannered girl. Okay. والديها yes let's look at that.
والديها مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه حذف النون.
Nope, think about it very carefully. This is ism, not a fa'il. Sorry, not a fi'l. Like
مثنى والدين.
Yep. So yeah, walidani. So you have walidani, that will be marfu. Your two parents. And you have walidaini, which is mansub or majroor. Remember, this is muthanna. So think about it. Waliday. What is this word anyway? What is this? She pleases her parents. What is that? It's mafulun bihi. So mafulun bihi is going to be what? Mansub, as you said, yes? Now a muthanna is mansub with what?
نصبه الياء.
Aliya. Naam, ahsan. So waliday is mafulun bihi. Mansubun. Wa alamatu nasbihi aliya'u. لأنه
مثنى.
لأنه مثنى وهو والديها. وهو مضاف.
مضاف.
يعني she pleased or she made happy her parents. So والدي مفعول به إلى آخره وهو مضاف. Okay, what's هذا؟
والحاء ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل جر مضاف إليه.
نعم أحسنت. So ها ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل جر مضاف إليه. طيب. So we had the مبتدا. Where is the خبر?
والجملة ترضي والديها فيما.
Yep, good. والجملة ترضي والديها yes.
في محل رفع خبر.
في محل رفع خبر. نعم. This is the مبتدا. This is the خبر. والجملة ترضي والديها في محل رفع خبر. And with this, inshallah, we are done for today. So we are done. Makira. What's next? حروف العطف and حكم حروف العطف. That should be covered in one lesson بإذن. You see, I told you at the beginning of the book, I told you if you work hard and you do all the i'rabs, the end of the book's going to get easier and we can go through it quicker. And that is, alhamdulillah, what is happening. Because why? Now you're beginning to notice there are a lot of things that are coming through, or we've actually done them in the form of i'rab. Yes, so this is like reconciliation. How's that? It consolidates you, your knowledge, and what do you call it? And it's good revision. Nah? Yeah. Khair, inshallah. Tomorrow, if you are free in the evening, same time, 9 p.m., please join us. I'll be doing a 1-hour lecture, a one-off, going over the basics of fasting, the basic ahkam, the basic rulings of fasting in Ramadan. Nothing too detailed, nothing too complicated, just a simple breakdown. That's at 9 p.m. inshallah. And also on Thursday evening, we'll be going through some questions that we have. Alhamdulillah, we received about 20 now, by now. That's a good number, mashallah. Questions that we'll be answering, all connected again to fasting Ramadan. That's on Thursday, 9 p.m. Bi-idhnillah. If you got time, inshallah. And khalas. So I hope you all stay safe. Have a wonderful Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a very good Ramadan for all of us and give us the tawfiq to worship Him as He ought to be worshipped. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us ikhlas. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to follow the sunnah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts, our fasting, our qiyam, our sadaqat, our Quran, our dhikr, our ibadah. And yes, Ramadan Mubarak. Inshallah, Ramadan Mubarak. And we say, Allahumma ya Rab, ballighna Ramadan, ballighna Ramadan. We ask Allah to allow us to reach the month of Ramadan and benefit of Ramadan. Inshallah, stay safe and inshallah khair. I'll see you after about a month. Inshallah. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.